the question I ask people is, why are you here? The reason I ask, why are you here, is because when I went to my first, what was then called CBA, I walked around there and I thought, what am I doing in a place like this? All the Jesus junk and holy hardware, as they called it. I was so intimidated with just all this thing, and people walking everywhere. The first 2 years I went, I didn't even survive one day. I mean, I was just so intimidated.
Yeah.
And I probably never would have made it, except there's a woman named Elaine Wright Colvin who kept telling me, you need to get out there and meet people and promote your books. And I said, yeah. So she finally, about 6 years ago, she said to me, you're going to go to, it was then called CBA, you're going to go to CBA, I'm going to go with you, we're going to walk the aisles together. And I said, well, while I was trying to think of an argument, she said, no, we're going to walk the aisles together. Okay. And that was exactly what I needed. And she introduced me to people and names I'd heard, but so that was a great experience for me. So when I try to give advice to new writers, first is just listen. Listen to people who give you advice, who know what they've done. They've been there. They've dealt with many authors, particularly folks at Wine Press. They've been doing this and doing it well for a long time, so listen to their instructions. My assistant Twyla talked about the first time she went to a writer's conference. She said she didn't even know what a manuscript was. She didn't know what a query letter. She said, I didn't even know the language. And it's just as true here. I come in and I say, oh, you got a book? Is it trade paper or mass paper? And many of them would say to me, what? It's a book.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because they don't know the difference.
Yeah.
And that's just one of many. You know, it's not that you folks at Wine Press have all the answers, but you have the experience so that you know the principles. And I think that one of the things that people like me have had trouble with, not from your people, not from a Wine Press writer, but so many of these writers, they come and they nearly knock you over the head with the book.
Sure.
And even if they say, would you like to have one of my books? And what do you say? You can't say no. My suggestion is listen. And if they show an interest, and if they say, oh, what did you write? And then they show a real interest, then you offer them a book. Yeah, and you know, most people are not going to make it on that first book. A few do, but I don't remember exactly how many books I had before I went full time. But I would say it was probably 40, maybe it was only 20, I don't remember. Let's say 20 books. But see, it isn't just writing one book, it's writing, and every time I write, I learn something from it, and my writing continues to improve. You know, editors are wonderful, and we couldn't do without them. Well, I want to be able to do without them, but I haven't gotten that far, because they always find something. But, you know, every time I write a book, I really honestly believe it's better than the previous book because I've learned some things. Well, whether it's the writing, the selling, the marketing, whatever it is, it's growing. It's learning the ropes. It's learning what you don't know. And the best way to learn is listen to the experts. Second thing I want to say is this is a business that's based on relationships. A lot of them are, a lot of businesses are, but especially writing. And what I sometimes like to tell people is that every time I've taken a step in my career, it's been because of a relationship with somebody else. And this is true. For instance, I started writing articles, and I probably had close to 100 articles written, and I wasn't even thinking about books. But there was a woman named Charlotte, a full-time writer, who was going through a really bad divorce. And so my wife and I used to pick her up every other Tuesday, take her to a group I called the Scribe Tribe. It was about 45 minutes out of our way to get her, another 45 minutes to take her back. And you know, it just because it was the right thing to do, and she needed us. So we did this for, at least a year. And then one day a publisher contacted her and said, Charlotte, you haven't done any books for us for a long time. How about doing a book? And she said to him, the publisher, I don't have anything going. I'm still hurting from my divorce, but there's a writer named Cecil Murphey. He's never written a book, but I'd like to show you some of his work, and I think you need to sign him up. So she sent him a couple of my articles, and he liked them. And he called me, and he said, told me who he was. And I knew him by name, and he said, well, how about doing a book for us? And I said, I've never done a book. That was the wrong answer, and he said, oh, I know that. Well, he said, tell me some things you're writing about. So, and I was a pastor. I was doing a series of articles on prayer. I was also preaching a series on prayer. So he said, well, tell me a couple of ideas you have. And I mentioned one. He said, that's an unusual aspect. Give me another one. I gave him another one. Give me another one. So I did maybe 5, and he said, hey, I like those ideas. He said, could you do 30 chapters? And by that, now I got it. I figured it out. I said, well, of course. I didn't know if I could, but I said it, and it did. And I can go all through the steps. The same with ghost writing. It's everything I've done. I ghosted like 50, 60 books, and again, it came about because a woman I had helped said to me, you need to meet my publisher. And so it was Rebel. So she made contact with me. I gave him my book manuscript, which he didn't like. And he said, I don't want to do the book, but I like the way you write. I think you'd make an excellent ghostwriter. So my point is, this is relationships. Now, everybody isn't going to get these kind of deals, but it's built on relationships, not because we get pushy or demanding. And and one of the things that people like Wine Press can help you is to give you significant things to do. Listen, don't get pushy, don't knock people over the head, don't keep throwing their book at them. But also remember, it's in building relationships with people that really make the difference. There's one final thing I really like to say to people, and that's this. We get zealous about our work, and we want everybody to know there's nothing wrong with that. But I think sometimes we forget that we're the messenger and not the message. Or another way to say it is, if you really believe that God is sovereign, really believe that God is in control, then it's God's job to open the doors for you. I think we have to be available, we have to be faithful, we have to be honorable, all those kinds of things. But it's God who opens those doors. And this has been very hard for me to figure out, because I'm the kind of guy who very active, very energetic, and I'm not going to knock people over the head, but I'm constantly out there. And what I've had to learn to do is just realize that this is God's business. I'm the servant. And one thing that became very, very clear to me, if Jesus Christ is my master, it's his responsibility. And if he wants my book to be a big seller, it will be a big seller. And if not, no. Now, that doesn't mean I just sit and do nothing. It means that I listen to the voice of my master, because I'm the servant.